The SAT is a stressful time for everybody. But for me, there's a little extra pain right at the beginning. You know, when you're filling out the form, writing down your name, your future job prospects, all the simple stuff. But where it all goes crashing and burning is at the race section. Because there, none of the checkboxes truly feel like home. Asian? No. White? Not really. Black? No. And Native American? Also no. And don't even get me started on Hispanic or Latino, because those aren't races, they're ethnicities. There's a difference. Even I'm not quite sure what that difference is. I'm American Nicaraguan, born and raised on stories of gallo pinto and iguanas. In Spanish, we have the perfect name for it: estadounidense nicaragüense. Sounds complete on paper, right? But in reality, I've often found myself growing in a gray area. Too Hispanic to be American here, and too gringo and Americanized to be Nicaraguan there. Belonging nowhere, belonging everywhere, all at the same time with no label to hold me at all. And I know I'm not alone in the space between the boxes. Many of you have felt it too, maybe for different reasons, but the ache is still the same. These checkboxes were meant to help describe ourselves, but too often they divide us. They draw a line. One side becomes us, and the other side becomes them. And once someone becomes them, it becomes frighteningly easy to stop seeing them as who they are. An issue that's only magnified through huge, sloppy labels. American, immigrant, conservative, liberal, Muslim, Christian. Millions of complicated lies get thrown into a bucket marked other. And the bigger that bucket gets, the easier it is to fear it, to hate it, and to outright pretend it doesn't exist. And this isn't just a feeling. It's something scientists have measured. In 2024, UC Davis researchers, particularly Jay Goodliff, Kirk Hawkins, and Braden Davis, examining 185 elections across 53 countries, found that when populism frames politics and identity as the people versus the enemy, affected polarization, emotional hostility between groups rises. This is not just those who are pushing out the message, but observed in entire societies as a whole. Now you may think, what if I don't buy into the message? Am I safe? Well, this study also found that those who don't buy into the rhetoric find themselves more susceptible to being resentful and distrustful towards the other side. Labels, in this case, don't just highlight our differences, they harden them into emotional walls. An issue because we've been wired like this at the beginning of time. Evolution didn't just shape our bodies, it shaped the way our minds see the world. Humans evolved in small, tight-knit groups where survival was dependent on collaboration with fellow tribe mates and fear and distrust of outsiders. Behavioral scientists studying evolution over time find that our brains are predisposed to favor those we see as part of our in-group, and fear and dislike those we see as part of our out-group. A trait which admittedly did help keep small groups alive. But today, our tribe is over 8 billion people strong. And that same mindset, that same instinct, left unchecked, is tearing us apart. So, how do we fix it? Well, it starts with one simple, and I'll admit, kind of annoying question, but it's life-changing. Why? Why do I feel separate from that person? Why do I feel like I already know their story before ever interacting with them? When our brain doesn't know something or someone, it hates the blank space. So we make it up. We write fiction. They're lazy. They're dangerous. They don't belong here. And these fictions can feel so true that we stop checking. A few months ago, the stories I was hearing about immigrants started hitting a bit too close to home. The news was full of heated language, talks of mass deportations, families being separated, and people I grew up knowing being labeled as alien, as if one word could sum up entire lives. I couldn't scroll past that anymore. So I did something. I joined the Hispanic Service Council. And one of the first people I met was a 17-year-old Venezuelan named David, whose name, for the purpose of this talk, has been changed for privacy. Not a little thing to know about David. He worked a 9 to 5 at a bakery, would walk home over the summer, get on Zoom with me every once in a while to learn English. He hadn't been in school in about 10 years. So naturally, we started with the alphabet, learning to pronounce words like cake and apple that use the vowel A differently. And for the couple of sessions we did, he would show up kind, thoughtful, and laughing at my sometimes terrible Spanish accent when trying to help him with pronunciation. He'd be able to learn. Now tell me, does David sound like the type of person who should be labeled as a threat? Does David sound un-American? Yet, that's the same story too many people have been sold. Working with David and countless other kids and families at the council did something to me. It turned them back into names, into people, into dreams. That's what all of us want, to belong somewhere, to matter to someone, and to build a life. And I realized that belonging isn't something that society gives you. It's something you have to forge yourself and invite others in. So I started doing small acts. I launched a free college counseling program at the council, made a flyer, posted on Instagram, and begged my friends to share the word. Next month, we're running the next workshop. Many kids of whom are the first in their families ever to start thinking of college, finding ways to turn dreams into applications. It's not going to change the world. It's not going to fix the system. That was never truly the point. The point was to remind every kid who walks through that door that you are not other. Your story matters here. So here's what I've learned in the space between the boxes. Identity is not the problem. And as much as I've been harping on labels, even labels aren't the problem. The problem is when we become so dogmatic, so certain of our moral clarity that we refuse to listen, refuse to engage with opposing ideas that we believe are corrupt, dangerous, and evil. And once someone or something is labeled as evil, the conversation ends. To quote the philosopher Terry Eagleton, evil is an end-stopping term, one which forbids the raising of further questions, like a fist in the solar plexus. And when questions stop, growth stops, leaving me with one final insight, one from John Stuart Mill on liberty, although very paraphrased. Ideas are never strengthened by being shielded from opposition. Ideas are strengthened by engaging with challenge, because truth, untested, is assumption, and error, unquestioned, uncorrected is comfort. So what does all this mean? What am I trying to tell you? Well, what I'm trying to tell you is I want you to engage with the other side. Question, fact check, even the ideas that feel so obviously correct, especially those ideas. Listen to the other perspective. Listen to the quote-unquote un-American. Tutor a kid, serve a meal, sit in someone's shoes 5 minutes longer than what feels comfortable. Because every time we do that, we pull one person out of that them bucket and place them where they've always belonged, with us. Thank you.